Hello and welcome to Santos Speaks. Today we are going to talk about curriculum and standards. However, this podcast is a bit different for we are going into the mind of a student. I wanted to get a student's perspective on the matter of standards because I know other educators have their opinions on them, but now we have an opportunity to hear what our students, the ones who are most affected by them, really think. So today I have Kacie Brown joining us. She is currently a junior at Illinois State University, majoring in communications, but like every other student, she experienced middle school. First question, so what is your experience or overall feelings on middle school?
On middle school?
Yes.
Not gonna lie, middle school was probably one of the worst experiences of my life.
How so?
Well, socially, I was kind of an awkward kid, didn't have any friends, and academically, I just didn't really do very well.
Okay. Well, going a little bit more specifically, how did you feel about language arts in your middle school experience?
I had the same language arts teacher both my 7th and 8th grade years, so all through middle school. And sometimes he would give us tests and quizzes that were really easy, and other times, he would teach us stuff that even I never touched on in high school. So maybe he was shooting for the stars a little too much for middle schoolers, because we would sit there with grammar in-depth grammar lessons that nobody was understanding, that we would talk about for the full 2 hours that we were in class.
And just based off of that, that wasn't fun for anybody, right?
No.
No one liked it.
Everybody had a headache by the end of it, and we were all mad, and he was yelling, and we were yelling. Great guy, though. Just
As she put it, the most prominent memory she has of middle school is how awful it is. In curriculum, all she could recall was the negatives. Now, we as educators don't want that, right? Of course not. We want our students to come out of our classes having learned something valuable. Next, I asked Kacie what she thought of ELA. So, can you describe your experience with reading and writing classes? I know you touched a little bit on it when you were, for the first few questions, but what would be something that you really remember in reading and writing classes? This can be for any grade.
Honestly, I remember being bored. Because I've been I guess not bored. I've been a really good reader since I was a kid, and a lot of the reading and writing classes I was in focused on advancing your reading skills. Well, I would be bored out of my mind. It wouldn't be until the last couple months or weeks of school that we'd start working on writing stuff.
So they would be they focus more on reading than they would on writing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that didn't really help me become a better writer. I didn't become a good writer probably until my junior year of high school.
Wow.
When I learned how to BS papers.
Is this throughout your entire educational experience where they've separated reading and writing, or they focus on one over the other?
It was kind of just always morphed together.
Okay,
we'd read a book and then we'd write about the book. But, it was younger ages, so it was what color was Johnny's sweater on page 707? You wouldn't read a book that big when you were younger, but... Or, what expression did Johnny feel when such and such happened? Johnny was sad.
Yeah.
So, they kind of mishmashed them together, but it was definitely always more of a focus on reading. Trying to get kids to develop all their reading skills and stuff.
From my own experience, I have noticed how separated reading and writing is. As Kacie put it, there was more an emphasis on reading than writing, which I can respect. However, Kelly Gallagher, the author of many titles, including In the Best Interest of Students, he mentions how crucial intertwining the two is. To fully understand one, you must include the other. He says that it is actually a positive that Common Core does. Standards realize that reading and writing are connected and push teachers to connect them further. With all of Kacie's experiences, I then told her the why. I informed her on standards teachers have to complete for the year in order to ensure all students learn the correct and same amount of information. Now, I don't need to tell you all of this. I'm sure all you educators know all the trials and tribulations of standards. When I informed Kacie on these standards, and she seemed to understand most of her teachers play with them.
Okay, I kind of get it now. I kind of see why there's something like that. But on the flip side, when I was younger, I never had, like, sat next to a kid that didn't get them. So, I don't know, maybe the standards could be changed a bit, especially with, I think, what came out Common Core. I don't want to know what sitting through elementary school or middle school is like now with that. Because I've seen, like, I get it, it's trying to help students, but it just looks very difficult.
Now, I won't play you this next clip, for it gets a bit wordy, but I explained to Kacie that the way these standards are taught can make an impact that lasts longer. Gallagher puts it in his work that standards are there for a reason. They are there to make sure everyone is learning the same information across America. However, he does note the pitfalls of standards. I think one pitfall can be how they are implemented. The way Kacie describes her teacher's classroom fits into one of the pitfalls of Common Core. The teacher seems to try to confine the content into four corners. He does not try to connect the content to the students. Kacie said it. She said that she doesn't even use the information that she learned from middle school. She didn't even use it in high school. Now, there are aspects of Common Core that are redeemable, such as valuing skills like summarizing, analysis, modeling, narrative writing, and the process of writing. But it is how these standards are implemented that makes all the difference to students. From Kacie's experience, we heard that she did not enjoy middle school. She could not recall a single positive experience when I asked. Gallagher gave many examples on how, if these standards are implemented correctly, they can be engaging and memorable. For example, when teaching writing narratives, create a reverse bucket list. Or for teaching summarizing, have students create 17-word-long summaries. No more, no less. You can read Gallagher's work for more, but these activities can have a bigger impact for students and hopefully give students like Kacie a better middle school experience. I am Jody Santos, and this has been Santos Speaks. Thank you for tuning in.